Alright, so I originally had an audio track for this where I spoke live as I did the stuff, but I lost the audio. Parts of it cut out entirely. Not certain what happened, but I'm just going to do this voiceover, and unfortunately some of the witty commentary I originally said, why that's gone. It's just me unboxing this. I wanted to get this done because this stuff is coming out this week, and I really want you guys to see what you're going to get with this product. You'll have to excuse the lighting. I'm in this temporary little setup here. I just knew that it was important to get this unboxing done to share it with the world. And here in a moment... Yeah, see, very temporary setup. I have a screwdriver handy. I didn't have a box cutter. There it is, the GPi case. It says on the front, as I get the box out of the way, that it's the Retroflag Raspberry Pi case, GPi case, compatible with the Raspberry Pi Zero and the Zero W. I'm going to end up using the Zero W just because it's wireless and I don't have to worry about it, as I point out there. So, on the side you'll see the same information, the Retroflag GPi case with a 2.8-inch 320 by 240 pixel LCD screen. And I put air quotes there because it says stereo earphone support, and I just hate that. I call it headphones. And then there's 3 AA batteries as well as a dual DC input, as you'll see here in a moment. And it just shows the same thing on the other side. It's just basically reprint on the opposing box. And so I make a joke about how it says instruction at the top instead of instructions, as in there's just one instruction, but whatever. Moving on. There's an on-off switch. Okay. Micro SD card, a volume wheel as well. And I make the joke, or it's not even a joke, actually. I'll let you know that it's a rocker, it's not a wheel. There's a headphone jack at the bottom, just like on DMGs. There's the contrast wheel as well, just like on the DMG. And then there is a DC 5 volt USB cord that comes with it. If the model name is the GPi, and there's exactly one of them in there, if you're wondering. I was so excited to open this thing, you can't really hear my excitement anymore. So there's the USB cord with the dedicated proprietary plug on the end, as it were. I'm going to use one of these Apple to go with my Pi. I just realized that. I'm not going to make a joke. And then it comes with a screwdriver as well in there. It has a flathead on one end and a Phillips on the other. Then there's some tension screws in there as well as just some other small screws. So I'm sure the instructions will let me know what to do with all of that. And there's some other weird little doodad in there, but again, manual's what that's for. And I was extremely ecstatic to take this out. You could see me kind of chomping at the bit to get in there. I didn't rip the bag apart as much as I wanted to, especially because it gets caught. And that's never... It makes me look like a weenie. But there it is, in all its beauty. I test the buttons, and the buttons feel great, everybody. They actually feel like DMG buttons. It's blowing me away. There's the rubber buttons and the D-pad, and I show off in the glimmer of the light that it has the textured surface to it like the DMG has for the D-pad. The on-off switch was pretty rough. Like, it's kind of hard to press, but that is not... I mean, you only do it once to turn it on and once to turn it off. It's not a primary button. But I pointed out the contrast in the volume wheel as well as the headphone jack on the bottom. Everything is where it should be. And then I'm realizing that there's an L and R marking above the battery door, and it's because those things are buttons right there. So when you're playing, instinctively where your fingers lie can now be a button press, which definitely helps with emulation, as it were. And then I realized that that's not just a cartridge you could pull out, it's like the whole top half chunk. And I start going and dig for this micro SD card slot. I wanted to see if there was a micro SD card in there, see if I could see anything. Not exactly, but that doesn't mean that I can't supply my own naturally and go ahead and do it. I read that it says cartridge GPi case 30th anniversary, and then it mentions this is a Raspberry Pi Zero or Zero W in there. And there's the connector ports for when you pop the thing back in. It's not just some fake plastic at the bottom, it's actually connector pins there. And then you'll notice that there's 4 holes there that don't have any screws in them, so I'm guessing that that has something to do with the screws that are in the bag. And it just snaps in, like no stress, it just goes right in. And luckily there was no audio to this part. It was such a tight pull on the plastic that it didn't go or anything like that. It just felt so good. The screen is crazy glossy. And then the buttons, since they are also glossy and they didn't want them to scratch in transit, were covered by a piece of plastic as well. You can see there that it says dot matrix with stereo sound. It's very dope. And I believe that there's an actual little light that comes on too when it's powered on. All in all, the presentation and the packaging of all of this was just beyond. You know, there's always a bad stigma around Chinese products, and this one just blew me away. Now, as far as the review goes, naturally I'm going to cover stuff like screen quality, if it's good while it's on, and how well the buttons actually perform and how they feel. The emulation, we already know how that is with a Raspberry Pi Zero, but that doesn't mean that the hardware itself is going to be good. So I'm really going to dig into that, and then I also just kind of show you the battery slot there. It really can just run on 3 AA batteries, which seems so antiquated but so necessary to make it look like a DMG. But yeah, that's the whole unboxing, and you guys have a good day, because you've earned it.